Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am Hawkinsimmer, and today we're doing another speed build. This is a tier 2 tiny home, I believe. Honestly, it's been a few weeks since I recorded it. I've had like a small backlog of videos and been trying to like space some of the stuff that I've been doing back then out and stuff now. I don't know. But yeah, I love the way this turned out. This is the first time I've done a tiny home like this where it looks like it's on a trailer. This trailer is from Debug, and it took me a minute to figure it out. I watched a few other people do very similar builds, and then I figured it out. Basically, you build a room, and then you build a room on top of that room, and then you delete that lower room, and then the tool that you would use to raise or lower a foundation, you just lower it a whole bunch onto this trailer. But yeah, I think it worked out. It looks really cute. I love this idea. I love the idea of like a mobile tiny home. You will need to use Debug if you want to do something like this. The trailer is from Debug, and then of course any vehicles are also from Debug. So yeah, this is not a Debug heavy build. I use a lot of Debug in a lot of my builds, but the main features of this are from Debug. So if you wanted to recreate this, my suggestion is to use the mod by Twisted Mexi, the better build by, and then Debug and live edit objects are always on, including move objects on is always on. It's an absolute time saver. I love that. But anyway, so my idea for this build, as you can see, this is on, I think it's Hindquarter Hideaway, something like that. I really love this lot. It's the lot that makes me think of Granite Falls, but it's actually in Brindleton Bay. It's kind of situated out here in the woods. I build on this a lot. I think it suits a lot of different build styles. And I wanted to treat this like possibly a camping area. And of course, I could have used Granite Falls, but your Sims can't actually live there. So I wanted this person to be like, this is a regular campsite for them, but they are on the move. So I wanted it, like I said, a regular campsite, but on the move. So I didn't want it to feel stationary. So there's not a lot of landscaping around the actual build, just because if you're thinking about it in real life, you wouldn't have shrubs planted around this giant trailer, because you'd be in and out. So I tried to make it seem like it was mobile, I guess. There's obviously trees, but not shrubs and flowers and things. So I had a lot of planted pots, like maybe they come here for like a month at a time and they camp here like in the spring or maybe the fall. So I wanted it to seem like they make it seem like home for the while that they'll be here. Okay, I'm talking about this way too much. Anyway, so the build, you have a porch, you walk in and you walk right into the kitchen and dining area. That's the main kind of block. There's like 3 kind of rooms basically. And then if you go to the left is like the primary suite. It is like the private bedroom. And then if you go to the right, it is both a living room and a room with bunk beds. So technically this build can sleep 4 Sims, which I think is pretty cool. And then of course there is a bathroom on the right hand side as well. It's one of those 3 tile bathrooms. So unfortunately you absolutely have to have either Snowy Escape or University to use this build. That's the only way that those 3 tile bathrooms will work as far as I know. But yeah, I really like the way this turned out. I did struggle with the exterior just because of that, like wanting it to feel mobile. And this lot isn't super big. I think it's 30 by 40, but I'm honestly guessing. But I wanted there to be a water feature. I just think that makes a lot of sense. Like maybe they fish here, but it can't be too big. Think about it. They got to park this giant trailer here. How they get it around, I don't know. The physics of it all don't really make a lot of sense, but we're pretending. It's all pretend. And then I wanted them to have some outdoor area because obviously it being a tiny home, there's not a lot of indoor area. So I did give them a fire pit and a like outdoor kind of dining area as well. I did put solar panels on top. I don't know if that makes any sense. And honestly, I'll be totally real. Because I don't play this game in live mode very often or at all, it feels, I don't know how those work. Like, I don't actually know if those can power your Sims houses or if they lower the bills. And that goes for the like rain collectors too, the rain barrels. I don't know if those actually lower your Sims bills or if they supply water. I don't know. But in my mind, they would. I don't know. Honestly, even if they're just a decoration, I like it. I'm into it. So as you can see, I'm doing this patio area. This is just because, so I live in the middle of a national forest basically. And at the campsites there, they have like obviously just open ground, but then some of them for campers and stuff, I've never camped in a camper really, but they'll have like a kind of a, not a patio area, but it'll at least be like, have like cedar planks around it to like show that it's sort of a patio area. And it might have like finer gravel or something so that you're not like in the mud basically. And that was the vision for this small little area. So I gave them a picnic table and then some chairs. I love those chairs. Those are base game and I use them all the time. If you've seen any of my builds, I typically put those on front porches or just small porches. And I think they're so cute and they have good swatches. They have this gold swatch that I used. And then they also have a black swatch with white cushions, and I don't know, I think they really work for a lot of good builds. But inside, I just wanted to quickly kind of map out where everything was going. I wanted this to feel very bright and airy and clean because it's such a small space, you know? And then you can see there is a small jump cut here. That's because I forgot to hit record. I haven't done that in so long, but basically my advice is to either hit undo a whole bunch of times and then hit redo very slowly, or you can put all of the items in your inventory and that kind of speeds up the process of putting it all back. So this whole build is sort of a yellow and blue theme. I do yellow and blue together a lot. It feels kind of warm, but still not like stuffy, I guess. They complement each other very well. Obviously, they're almost opposites on the color wheel, so they go together pretty well. I think it works really well, honestly. I don't think I limited the packs, but as you can see, I obviously use Tiny Living. I use a lot of Dream Home Decorator. That's just kind of, I'm really into the mid-century modern style in my real life. So if you've seen a few builds by me, you know that like that's kind of the vibe I flock to every time. And then another jump cut because I had to put all of the kitchen inventory in separately. But I really like the way this turned out. I think the flow makes a lot of sense. It doesn't feel super, super cramped. I ended up going for a mini fridge instead of a full-size fridge. And I don't often do that in tiny builds because they take up the same amount of space. The only difference is that you can place things on top of the tiny fridge, the mini fridge, that's what that's called. Like you can place a coffee pot on top of it. So it's almost like another counter space. I really wish they had given us something to where we could put the mini fridge like under a counter somehow. I think that would have been really useful. Almost like the way the built-in oven and the dishwasher work. I think that would have been really nice. I see why they didn't do that, but I think it would have been a really good option. So I tried to use quite a bit of base game stuff just because I thought that that would be helpful to anyone else. Maybe I did pack limit this. Eco Lifestyle, of course, Tiny Living, Dream Home Decorator. I'm trying to see. Ooh, I don't know. I can't tell anything else in particular, but those are popping out to me for sure right away. But I really like the way it turned out. I think I used the space really well and the walls really well, like putting those mirrors on the wall and then lots of plants, of course. Not that those actually do anything for your Sims, but in my real life, they're good for you. Anyway, how are you? I feel like I haven't asked that in a while. Maybe it's just because I feel like I haven't done a voiceover in forever, but I don't know. I feel like I haven't asked in a minute. Tell me how you're doing below. I hope you're all right. Things have been pretty okay for me, honestly. Work things have sort of settled and life has sort of settled. I mean, I've been busy, don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm always busy. There's always something to do. In my real life, last weekend, it's been a week since my birthday. I just turned 28. I'm an old lady, but I love it. I feel really young, and I've said this before, but if I haven't said it here, I don't know. I really feel like 30s are going to be it for me. Like maybe I should just be enjoying where I'm at right now, but I don't know. My teens and my 20s were very, very rough. So I don't know. I'm really thinking that like 30s are going to be good for me, really good for me. I'm holding out hope for that. But yeah, I hope you're doing okay. I hope, life is all right. And if it's not, I'm really sorry. And just keep holding on and it'll get better. Okay, sorry, sappy moment. It has nothing to do with this build. So we are working on the living room and like kids' room right now. And I don't know, I think I made pretty good use of the space. As you can see, there's a bunk bed situation, and I use this one because it has those drawers underneath. It doesn't actually function as a dresser, but the sentiment is there. And then I gave them the tiny dresser, and I gave them that mixed use thing, and that's kind of it. I think it came together at the end. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, I hope the world is treating you well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Take a sip of water every time I say I think it really came together.